With 3 million members searching, SingleMuslim.com proudly sponsors Single Muslim Live.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another episode of Single Muslim Live here on British Muslim TV, sponsored by SingleMuslim.com. I'm Fahima Mohammed, your host, your relationship and couples coach. Very, very happy to be here tonight and to also have all of you dear viewers watching from wherever you are, whether you are watching live on Sky Channel 752, on Facebook or Twitter. A very, very warm welcome from all of us here on British Muslim TV. I also would like to invite you to actually call in and speak to us in the studio, and you can do so live by dialing 01924 231 083. Make sure you ask the bill payer's permission, as standard network rates do apply. We do have another option for you to actually message us for free, and that's on our WhatsApp service, and that number is 07585835150. And I can also keep you anonymous and private, confidential, however you choose. I'm quite happy to do that. If you want to send your messages through, I'd be more than happy to share your thoughts or even answer some of your questions tonight. We have an amazing guest to talk about another topic, which is also a little bit hot, controversial, where we want love and money all at the same time. And we're going to go into it. There's a lot of science and psychology behind this too. So hopefully we will answer some of your questions. And inshallah, I just want you to welcome our guest tonight, streaming all the way from Germany. We have Loubna Ammer. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, Loubna?
Hi, Fahima. Wa alaikum assalam wal ikram. Alhamdulillah, all is good here in Germany. Thank you so much. I hope that you are doing well yourself. And thank you so much for having me today.
I am doing absolutely amazing because I know how wonderful you speak and how amazing your mindset is. And it's amazing to share the platform with you tonight. And I hope that the guests really appreciate your time, as I do, and so do all of us here on British Muslim TV, because if it wasn't for guests like yourself, we wouldn't have such a wonderful show like we are going to tonight. So thank you for being with us today. Now, we are going to be talking about a topic which is I want love and money. I mean, this is something that, we think in relationships, especially when it comes to money, these things don't matter, it'll come later. So we're going to talk about this a little bit more deeper, because I think a lot of issues do, arise, especially when you're in a relationship later on. And especially the topic of finance does come in. And obviously there's so much around the fact that we have changed in our roles in society. So we're going to go into it. But before we do, I want to know, who is Loubna? What do you do? Tell us all a little bit about yourself.
Great. Thank you so much for the introduction. Love and money, this is always a hot topic, like you said. I would like to, again, thank you so much for having me tonight. My name is Loubna Ammer. I'm from Syria. I have been residing in Germany since 2015 on the backdrop of the war in Syria. Before that, I spent around 15 years in Dubai. I had there my master's degree in translation, English, Arabic. I had my 2 kids. I used to work in translation. But then when we come here to Germany, that was really exciting, because here in Germany, I have experienced my transformation, really. When we come here first, I really experienced the cultural shock. It was really hard. I thought that I have lost everything, that I needed to start from zero all over again. So believe it or not, in the first couple of years, I believed that I have lost everything. Everything. Wow. My degree, my academic degree did not matter. My connection also did not matter. Nothing that I have done in my previous life mattered. So that was really devastating, honestly. But then in 2019, I started having this shift in my mindset, and I started thinking, and that was really at the beginning of my awakening moment. I started thinking, okay, why am I so frustrated and sad about being in Germany? This is Germany. I mean, this is one of the most beautiful countries on earth. People would pay a lot of money to be here. Besides, this is a strategic, a very strategic place to be in the world, because from experience, I know that businesses from the West, they want to go to the Gulf region, to the Arab countries that are rich, that are welcoming to investments. Just the same as we in the Arab world would like to also go to the West, right? So here, and this is really funny and amazing at the same time, because once I had this shift, believe me, even the ads that I would have in my Facebook changed. Wow. There is an old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And this happened to me literally. There was an ad on Facebook for a mentorship program. So I went really out of my comfort zone, traveling on my own. I went to Switzerland to sign up for this mentorship program. And it was one of the best investments in my life. When I invested in this mentorship program, literally, I felt that I was like a cave woman living in my cave, not knowing what's happening in the world. Nothing. But they brought me up to date. They brought me up to date. Yes, and from the mentorship program, I started meeting people and business owners. And then I had this idea. This is really great to connect businesses from Europe to investors maybe in the Gulf region. And for this concept, I won the World Greatness Award from the Greatness University in London in 2020. And I was the first woman ever to win this prestigious award. I'm very thankful. And then in 2020, Corona hit, of course, the blessing in disguise. And I was invited to offer like a series of sessions in a Facebook group. And this really opened the door for my real passion, for my real calling in life. So I started coursing now, investing in courses. So in addition to the mentorship program, which was a really big investment for me, but I really thought, okay, if I want to teach people as well, I really need to back it up with some knowledge, with some learning. So I went ahead, I invested in a number of courses, and I became also a specialist, a certified specialist in happiness and positivity, which also opened the door for me to study about transformational NLP, which in turn transformed me into becoming today your personal transformation facilitator. And by the way, I am the first transformational NLP master practitioner in the Emirates. So this is an overview about my transformation journey. And
wonderful.
How my career will change really in the span of 2-3 years, since 2019 specifically.
I've heard these kinds of stories over and over again with people on the similar journey as yourself, that it doesn't take that long, no matter how, further on in your stage in your life, when you actually go into the self-development world. And a lot of people don't understand that, whether it's coaching or NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, neuro meaning, the mind, understanding the way in which we think. Linguistics is the language that we use, and programming is the habits that we have. So at the end of the day, all of this is connected to understanding the psychology of the human being, right? And a lot of us don't understand how much that is so important in our relationships. And when coaches come up today and they are offering services for many different niches, and especially now with relationships, and people think, well, what is that going to do for me? How is someone going to help me? But actually, listening to your story, it shows how much it can change you. And because you are so passionate about this, same like a lot of us that are in the same field, we want to serve and help others do the same thing. And that's how it works. So when it comes to wanting love and money in one's life, a lot of us look at relationships thinking, well, it's more important to have love first, or it's important to have maybe money first and then the love later. What is your thoughts and experience about people that have one or the other, or they kind of hold themselves back? What goes through their mind when they are sort of like juggling between love and money?
Great question, Fahima, really honestly, because we tend to put limitations, on our ambitions. Who said that we cannot have both at the same time? Aren't there people out in the world who are enjoying love and money at the same time, and they are having the best life any human being can aspire to have? Of course there is. And if there are people who are enjoying this means anybody really can do that. But the problem is, again, is that we are limiting ourselves because of the programming that we have been subjected to since childhood. Not only childhood, sometimes we inherit some of these programmings. And for me personally, from experience now, I find that love, money, and relationship to God are the most three things that are subjected to heavy programming in the entire world, really. So by all means, we can have love and money and be a spiritual being all at the same time. And from experience, also from the consultation, there is a tendency for so many people to have an intertwined relationship between love and money.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. Before we continue, I just want you to explain what is programming. How are we programmed?
Okay, great. Thank you. So programming happens really in two stages in life. The first one happens in the very early childhood when the human being is still in the womb until the first 2 to 3 years of their life. We look at the newborn, we say, oh, they are so cute. They only want to be fed. They only want to be clean, And then that's it. But we forget that the subconscious mind has no age, and the subconscious mind is doing its job, and it's processing things all the time. And believe it or not, in consultations, there are people who are able to remember things that happened to them, not only in the womb, but even from previous lives. But I'm not going to go there because not everybody, believe that we have lived many lives before. So from the womb to the first 2 to 3 years old, this is the first stage of programming. And here, the little one now is deciding on their intrinsic rights, like their right to exist. For example, there are parents who would like to have an abortion, but they end up keeping the baby anyway. And now the baby has their intrinsic right to exist violated. This will affect them later on in life without them knowing. So
amazing. Loubna, you've given us so much insight so far, and it's such a great introduction. And before you go even more deeply, we are coming up to a first break. And I just want to make the audience aware that, we are going into real technical issues right now, but it's so important for your time and attention because this is going to relay and outlay how we are formed in our adult life. And with that, we can actually help ourselves to make that transition and that transformation. This is what it's all about, is for us to make that switch. Just like how Loubna explained that she made that switch herself, we're going to try and do that for you tonight. So stay with me, and inshallah, we will have that light bulb moment, and we will continue our conversation in a few moments. We will see you very, very shortly. Salam.
With 3 million members searching, SingleMuslim.com proudly sponsors Single Muslim Live.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Single Muslim Live here on British Muslim TV, sponsored by SingleMuslim.com, having a very, very interesting and technical information conversation with our lovely guest, Loubna. Before I even say anything further, I don't want to miss any moment that you have to speak. Please continue what you were speaking about before the break with regards to how we are programmed.
Thank you so much. So like I said, programming happens in two stages. The first one is really early childhood from the womb stage until 2 to 3 years old. And there are research out there that people can go online and look for Wilhelm Reich research on this topic. So by the age of 2 to 3, the little one will have determined everything they need to know about their entitlement in life. Their entitlement in terms of health, in terms of money, in terms of happiness. Are they wanted or not? Do they belong to the family? And there are several intrinsic rights that are determined at this early stage as well. Like I said, the intrinsic right to exist, the intrinsic right to belong, the intrinsic right to have needs and wants that are different than their family, but still belong to the family, right? And now the second stage of programming happens mostly between 4 to 7 years old. Of course, there are so many other stages in life or situations in life where certain programming will happen, but these are the basic ones. So at this stage, how the programming is happening basically is when the child is subjected to a situation that is emotionally charged. We need to notice here that everything is triggered by emotion. So in the programming, when we want to update somebody's programming, we work on changing the meaning, and therefore the person's emotions about this experience will be changed. So when the child is subjected to a situation that is emotionally charged, what happens here is that they take an unconscious decision about themselves and about the world. This is the coding that will turn later into a programming, which will generate different kinds of experiences for them later on in life. Now I have found out as well that programming does not come all at once. Some programmings will be fired later on in life. So you see people in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s sometimes, they are doing crazy things. And you'd ask how? They are supposed to be grown-ups, right? But still they are acting very weird. What's happening with these people, you know? But now I have come to learn that at certain ages, certain programming will be fired as well in order for them to have certain experiences as well. So I think once we have decoded how things work, we can really breathe, you know. And,
absolutely.
Is solved now. Now we can see clearly how things happen, and this is, you know, very important for parents. And this is really a part of my mission. I'm very passionate about building the human, and in order for me to build healthy generations, healthy humans for the next generations, it's very important to raise awareness among parents, right? About these little things, like when the mom and dad, they are fighting, they really need to be careful.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. And I do agree that most of the time we are definitely programmed and we do have these habits that we repeat over life. But there's also a point where humans, you know, up to a certain point, like yourself, you've actually learned, you've actually taken yourself out to, you know, regardless of your programming, you know, growing up and whatever you're triggered with and whatever it is that you feel, there is no real excuse nowadays. So we need to put ourselves outside the box and actually make sure that we learn if things are not serving us, if things are not happening the way we want, then we do need to seek outside assistance to help us deprogram and rewire your thinking, your thoughts. Because when it comes to love and money in relationships, it is a huge problem where people are holding themselves back, or they think that they cannot actually have it all. And to say you're having it all, maybe, you know, most people might say it's probably the unsuccessful ones that actually say that money doesn't matter. So what is your thoughts on that? I want to be open on the show. I want to be clear about what people's perspectives are. It doesn't necessarily mean it's mine, and it certainly doesn't represent the channels, but I know what people are saying and I know what people feel when it comes to relationships. And a lot of us are held back, especially the youngsters, because they're waiting for money to happen, or they think that, you know, love is something that may come later on, or it has to be first, a love at first sight? And I know you're saying it comes from a programming, but then how do we identify that there is an issue?
Perfect question, really. I love it. First of all, we cannot, I have also learned, again, you will hear me repeat these words again. I have learned not to judge people. Not everyone is ready to make the transformation, to start on a transformation journey. This really takes courage, because it requires dealing with a lot of pain for some people. Especially those who have had drastic experiences as kids, like kids who have been subjected to harassment, for example, kidnapped, parents killed in an accident, one of the parents was killed in front of them. So there is a lot of pain that the person will need to deal with. And with pain, of course, comes fear. We humans are programmed to fear from pain, but pain, on the other hand, is the biggest, most important messenger for us that will push us to move out of our comfort zone. So again, this is all programming. Comfort zone.
Before you continue, Loubna, there's another thing that I want to interrupt you with, and obviously I am challenging you here because I know you can definitely answer me. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to even our programs, as much as certain people may be afflicted by, these real challenges, whether it's life challenges, experiencing, whether it's really extreme circumstances, but even if they're not experiencing circumstances, there is a mindset that some people are just, prone to have, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know if anyone's read that book, but it's a mindset as to how you think. In a sort of scarcity manner. So your relationship with money, do you think that you are always never good enough for it? Or do you think that at the same time, it doesn't matter if you come from a rich family or a wealthy background, but the fact that you are motivated, thinking that you deserve it, thinking that you are worthy of it. Now, how is that individual built, even without the programming? Because there are some people out there, even if you read the book Viktor Frankl, who talks about the meaning of life, who actually talks about you being in really difficult situations, but you can still strive because of the way in which you think, because you are not going to be, going through the normal programming. You're going to fight those programming because you actually have motivation and determination. What's your thoughts on that?
Okay, great. You have asked me before a very good question. How do I know that I am having a programming here that is keeping me in the same loop or stuck in the same place? Basically, if you have before, in a previous stage of your life, experienced love and money and a good job and studies, etc., but you are not experiencing that anymore, and you are doing whatever is necessary. Like you are investing in coaches, you are taking courses, you are working, you are seeking jobs, you are seeking relationships, but nothing is happening to you, then this is an indication that there is a programming. Also, when there is a theme for your life, like for some people, their theme of their life is that my friends are backstabbers, or my colleagues at work will always steal my work, and they will, accredit my work to themselves. Or my wife is a narcissist. My husband is a narcissist. My first husband is a narcissist. My second husband is a narcissist. So whenever a person notices that there is a theme for their life, this is an indication that they are having a programming. Of course, we all have normal, regular experiences. I can go now to the supermarket and the cashier might be grumpy, and then she will treat me badly. This is not necessarily because of my programming, but when I notice that I'm attracting grumpy people all the time, people that are mean all the time, or people who are trying to limit me all the time. So this is the theme of my life. That is an indication of programming. And this programming is unconscious, and believe it or not, no matter how bad or horrible the experiences I'm experiencing right now, but there is always a positive intention of this unconscious programming, and it is basically keeping us alive and keeping us safe.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I think it comes back to what you said at the beginning, because you said when you started changing your life and you learned certain things opened up for you. So you did attract that. So I guess your intention does manifest. And like we talk about the law of attraction, is you believing and thinking in a particular way is very powerful to what shows up for you. And you attract who and what you are. I guess that's what you're trying to say, right?
No, I'm trying to say that, okay, what I'm trying to say is that we need to be really mindful, because you can do really subliminals, you can do affirmations, you can reprogram your subconscious mind by writing, 14 times for 21 days, but you might notice that year by year and you are not achieving that. You know why? Basically because, and this is very important, what we writing the affirmations about is defying our safety programming.
Right.
So I want, yes, from the first question that you asked me earlier, why people cannot have money. Like I said, money, love, and relationship to God are the most things in the entire world that have been subjected to heavy programming. So for so many people, money is dirt. It's dirty. Money is, I love money, I want to have money, but it's dirty. So this is, well,
on that point, which is really, really important, actually, because we are coming up to our second break, I think you highlighted something very, very important. It's the way in which we have our relationship with certain things like money and love. And we're going to come back to that, where Loubna is going to be explaining much more so we can understand ourselves and hopefully break the cycle. Now, make sure you stay exactly where you are as we continue Single Muslim Live after the break. See you shortly.
With 3 million members searching, SingleMuslim.com proudly sponsors Single Muslim Live.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Single Muslim Live here on British Muslim TV, sponsored by SingleMuslim.com. We have the lovely Loubna streaming all the way from Germany, giving us an insight into the way in which we are programmed in our childhood, which actually shows up a lot of the times in our adulthood. And when it comes to love and money, Loubna, how are Muslims today in the society intertwined in the way in which they think about love and money?
Okay, thank you so much. And I'm going to share now my own views, not only my own views, but my views are based really on some research. So in our Muslim society, it's the man who is the main breadwinner. It's qawama in Islam. So in exchange for that, the wife will need to be obedient to the husband. And historically now, on the other hand, women would not have money or property or something for themselves. It's usually the men who will have the money, and they are the main source of income for the wives and for the kids. And we still see that until today, and we will continue to see that in the future. When the kid will go to their mom for allowance, she will say, go to your dad. Right. So, so in our minds, the money and the love are intertwined together. So when a child is experiencing a troubled childhood in a home where the father who holds the money, okay, and the wife who does not have any money and is not getting any money, and there is usually so much fight around money. From the child's perspective, it's my mom and dad, they are not loving each other, they are not in a good relationship together because of the money. So in this child's head, love and money are connected. Now the little child can take some unconscious decisions again about themselves and about the world. A little girl, for example, who is witnessing this kind of arguments that sometimes can be escalated really to domestic violence, even over money and allowance, etc. So a little girl like that will decide for herself that I want to be a strong, independent woman who can earn my own money and not need a man in my life. Does this sound familiar?
Of course. And it's causing a lot of problems right now, thinking like that as well.
Exactly. However, if we are able now to, have the courage to talk about these topics, we do not want to, as a woman, I do not want to challenge men on their position, on their qawama. From experience, again, and from what I have learned, and from the, from the ladies coming to me in consultations, it's fabulous when the man is really fulfilling his qawama role, but at the same time, when they are not being bossy at home. Now, everything has changed. Work itself is not as difficult as it used to be, right? Most people will have an office job where they have to go from 9 to 6 or from 8 to 5 or whatever. Now, even women, they are doing that. You go in the morning to your work and you see the buses and the cars are filled with women and girls going to their universities and to work. And women in thousands and thousands of families have now become the main breadwinners, but they are not claiming their qawama right. Okay, and this is even creating more and more problems because, and I'm saying this with so much love and respect to men, and this does not apply for everyone, but there are men out there, especially in our Muslim communities, and this is a fact really, they are very happy with their social privileges, the inherited ones, that even when they lose their jobs, they would stay on their couches, playing with their mobiles or watching TV or doing whatever, while their wives are going out there working outside the home and then coming back in order to be, to do their housewives role again. So again, with all due respect, I'm saying this, and from a place of love, with all good intentions, I'm saying this. We really need to raise more and more awareness about this fact that the relationship dynamics changed now and work itself has changed now. And you see in the families where the women are the main breadwinners, again, they are not claiming any qawama rights. They are not asking for obedience from the man or the child or the children. They are just, providing very lovingly. Of course, there are good women, there are bad women. There are good men, there are bad men as well. So, from this stage, I would really love to encourage everyone now who is listening to us to stop thinking about the typical stereotyping of men and women. Okay, we are so done and tired of those accusations that men are demonic and women are demonic and those are bad and those are bad. No, not all men are good, not all men are bad, and the same applies for women. So instead of just, men and women accusing each other of being bad or deceiving or whatever, really, just look at them as a human being. Is this a human being good? Do they have good character? Do they have good manners? Do they have akhlaq? And then you can judge them. And I get sad sometimes because there are some people who call them coaches, but they are really working hard in order to feed this feud between men and women. But this is only breaking our energy and drifting men and women apart from each other.
I think what you raised is such a crucial current issue that we are facing right now, because a lot of people are asking the question, why is there so many relationship breakdowns? And we're not actually addressing the core of the problem. And I think what you've just stated is that, society has changed, women's roles have changed. And to be honest, we need another episode just for that itself. But regardless, the fact that you brought that up, it does make a difference to finding love and money differently. And there are so many women out there saying, well, I've got the money, I've got my independence, I don't need to have a relationship, but I need to have a man. Now, where does that come from? Is it because, like you said, because, okay, fine, the roles have changed, but we still need that connection. We still need to be with the other. Now, is it the problem that you said a little bit earlier that maybe some men, not all, but some men are not actually fulfilling some of the things that women are now actually also doing? So if women are earning and if they also are earning, then both parties also need to, for example, help in the house and with the chores and with the kids. And that is Islamic anyway. So it's not just a feature that is just for women now that have their role and men just have their role. It's more, like you said, intertwined, where both couples are actually doing similar jobs, and maybe one part is not actually on par with that, or they don't understand it, or they want it the old-fashioned way. But then there's a lot of women who are even earning, like you said, a lot more than men, and men are finding it very difficult to step up and actually feel that they are even matching their partners in that way. And what does that do to a male ego, especially in the Muslim community, when they are supposed to be the providers, the protectors, the one that serves the family in the predominant way? So what's your solution to something like this?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Actually, studies have shown that men are more prone to fall into despair and to commit suicide and to be subjected to violence by other men, a lot more than women. And all these statistics are available online. So if somebody is interested, I really encourage you to go online and look at these shocking statistics. There is no solution. Look, in transformational NLP, we do not offer solutions, because when I offer you a solution, then I will be inviting you to go through another experience. In transformational NLP, we take the client into a journey where they can uncover their limiting beliefs and hidden unconscious programming, and then we update this programming. But since we have opened this file, controversial file, of the conventional relationship between men and women now in Islam, and this financial aspect of it, what we really need now is to shift from the master-slave type of relationship or the boss and follower into a partnership. This is what we really need. And I know this sounds a little bit Platonic. I know that. Because everyone will have to have their own experience, and being in a relationship, this is an integral part of our journey as souls here on the planet. So I think what I am talking about right now will appeal more to people maybe from my generation, my age right now, who are over 30 or 40 years old, who have already undergone at least one relationship experience before.
I don't think it's off topic. I think it's actually very relevant, to be honest, and you have connected it perfectly. And I think it's something that we did need to open up, because money and love does come involved with the fact of how in which our society is now changing and built differently. Whether some people think it's a good or bad thing, we have to accept what it is. And at the same time, with the way in which, our world works, both people do need to work in order to survive in this climate nowadays as well. So it's not even something that is an option anymore. It's really not a choice. The other thing is, when it comes to finding love, do you think that even people have lost hope in love and they're more interested in money than they are in love? What's your thoughts on that? Because it seems to be everyone's just career focused and they want to be independent and they want to be, be able to be strong. And I get that, especially from the women that come back, from really broken relationships and they've had to build again because they've relied on that man and that relationship. And then they start again when it, all falls apart. So women are now listening to these stories and they're like, no, I need to be stable as well. So it's a form of security, if anything. So how do you think people can actually, try and weigh it up? Like at the very beginning, you said we can have it all. How can we have it all?
You can have it all really after you have done your work on the inner world. Okay, so many people are deceiving themselves when they think that, okay, when I have a stable job and I have a stable income, and then my life will be perfect, and only then I will be able to open my heart for a new love. But in reality, you need to really start this journey, you know, in your inner world, because without this work together, inner world and outer world, there will always be something lacking. You will always be off balance. And this journey inside, to reconnect to yourself and to be able to hear this, you know, very subtle voice of your soul, this is extremely important if you really want to start seeing some changes going on in your reality. I really love the mirror theory, or somebody would call it a law of the universe, which is basically whatever is happening in my world, and they call it reality. This is really a mirror. Basically, it's mirroring what's going on in my inner world. So I really want to talk about money and love. Let's say that a little girl was raised in a home where the father will assault the mother for money. Okay, because of the media, and poetry and soap operas, etc. Now we often confuse attachment and toxic relationships with love. Okay, and please, Fahima, remind me to come back to what real love is.
Absolutely. No, that is very good way to sort of give a bit of like indication as to what we're going to be speaking about, because we are coming into our final break, and it's giving you a little bit of a teaser as to what you need to make sure that you do not miss, because I think it's so important that we do understand how our external world also reflects upon how we perceive things, and what is really truth and what is really reality. And is it really reality? Is it just because we see it that way and we think it that way? So it's all very quantum physics and science and psychology, and how in which, you know, you can actually have a philosophical view as to how we all view things. And is it really true or not? Or is it just our thoughts that's playing tricks with us? Now, inshallah, we are going to come back into the final part, and I really do urge all of you to please do not miss this. We only have Loubna for tonight. Make sure you take advantage and do take notes, as we are definitely going to be closing with hopefully some practical tips so that you can use on yourselves tonight. And inshallah, we will see you very, very shortly. Stay with me and we will see you in a few moments. Assalamu alaikum.
With 3 million members searching, SingleMuslim.com proudly sponsors Single Muslim Live.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Single Muslim Live here on British Muslim TV, sponsored by SingleMuslim.com. We are in the final part of this episode, again going past so quickly. Just to quickly sum up that we had to lay the foundation as to how in which we are programmed in our minds subconsciously, unconsciously when we are really young, which shows up later on, and our relationship with money and love. Now, Loubna, tell us, how can we recognize what is real love? A lot of us find that very difficult, and we need some answers.
Yes, indeed. For so many years, I was one of the people who would know if I have been in love or out of love by suffering. When my heart aches, when my nights are long, when my pillow is wet of tears, you know, I would say, oh, that's love, that's real love. You know, I would believe the poetry, the poem, the deceiving poems. You know, I would believe the love scenes in films and you know, in TV series, and I would say, oh, that's love, oh, sweet love. It's all about heartache, honestly. And I'm sure if you go now down the street and you'd ask someone, how do you recognize that you are in love? They will tell you, oh, my heart will be aching. I will not be able to sleep, etc., etc. But this is not the real love. This is only attachment, and this is sometimes can be bad karma. This could be a contract from your childhood that you have manifested right now in order for you to go through a certain experience that your soul basically wanted to learn from. Real love is all about development. Now, anyone who knows a little bit about energy will tell you that energy, about the energy of love, is so warm, is so beautiful, is very spiritual as well. So this is how you know that you are now enjoying real love, is that when you are in a relationship where you feel that you are the best version of yourself, and it's mutual. When this person is really bringing out the best on you, and when the relationship is mutually beneficial for both parties, you know, in this love relationship, when both people can really develop together. And I know, again, this sounds really platonic, but we are humans, and we are allowed to be imperfect.
I love that. I love that. I think, you know what, I'm just going to interrupt you there, because I've had so many clients, and I'm sure you have the same, which say that, you know, when we're in a relationship, you know, one's chasing, the other one's, you know, running away, and the other one's pulling, you know, closer. And it's so true what you've said. I mean, when you just describe love as being warm and feeling sort of like, you know, free and spiritual, I mean, I think it's just that feeling alone of you saying that feels so nice. And I think so many relationships do not embody that. And we need to understand what love really means. You're not holding someone like on a tight rope just so that they can keep, you know, you can keep them there in that relationship, for example, or you are, you know, really tense, or you're scared of fear of losing them or losing your own identity. This is not love at all. This is not love. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Thank you. Thank you. You know what? We have been deceived, you know, when people told us that we humans were created from mud and water. If you ask me, I think we were created from the pure love, from the divine. Honestly. And anything other than that is a huge deviation from love. Now, I would like, you know, with our short time that we have, to explain something that's very, very important. Honestly, I don't care if you would agree with it or not, I mean, the audience, but it will really provide a huge relief for you. And this is very important, I think, you know, for us to be relieved. So before we are men and women, we are human beings. Okay? And before even we are human beings, we are souls. So let's say, just imagine that the souls were there, up there, and, you know, in the soul's land, and they looked down there and they saw this beautiful planet, and they said, oh, that's nice, I would love to go there, and I would like to experience so and so and so. And then other souls, out of so much love, they told them, okay, I will help you with this experience. What do you want to experience? Somebody will say, I want to experience heartbreak, I want to experience backstabbing, I want to experience being a philanthropist, I want to experience what it is like to have a fatal disease like cancer, or to be born with some autism, for example, you know, or, you know, you get it, you get what I mean. So out of love, the other souls will participate in these scenarios. So that is why when you meet someone, you would have this feeling that you know them from before. Almost everyone who enters your life, you will always have this feeling that you know them before. And I, for myself, when I had my 2 kids, I just met my 2 kids, you know, at birth, when I gave birth to them, but I felt that I have known them forever. And, you know, every person that matters in my life, I felt that I have known them before. So it's very important, and I hope this is helpful for your audience now, is to know that we did not come here in vain. Not only to fill the space. No. every single one of us, and we are about to become like 9 billion souls now on the planet, and this is a huge single of the divine's ability. Ya subhanallah. Each single one of us will have their individual experience. We might have some things, you know, in common, but every single one of us will have their own individual with its own details. So it's very important for us to get ourselves out of frustration, to ask, okay, what my soul initially wanted to learn by letting me go through this experience. And despite all of the pain that we on the human level, on the creature level, will experience, it's also very important for us to know and learn that the soul is protected. Our soul is protected. And the pain that we are having right now, or the fear, or whatever the experience is happening only on the creature level, on the human level. So this alone should really provide a lot of relief for us, and also more trust. And we normally do not ask for help. So many people out there are in despair. They are not asking for the help from the Creator or from the universe.
Well, you know what? You have given us so much insight, and I love listening to you, and I can listen to you for another hour easily. But unfortunately, we have come to the end of the show. But before we leave, give us a minute of your time to sort of end with some final words. And inshallah, also with your details, if anybody wants to get in contact with you, because I think that you do need to take people on a journey separately to this show. And this was only an introduction of Loubna. So please take it away.
Thank you so much, Fahima. You know, I would really encourage you to deal with your pain. I promise you, when you start your transformation journey, it will not be any more painful than it already is. But when you process it, it will not be toxic anymore. Okay, so you might try to ignore some memories or situations from the past that you are still holding on to until this moment. But believe me, when you process it, the pain will go away, the toxicity will go away, and all there will be is the lessons learned from the process. And this takes time. This takes time. So if you are now listening to me and you are feeling something, this is really an invitation then for you that now is the perfect moment for you to start reconnecting to yourself. All you need to do in the beginning is just sit for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and try to listen and observe what's going on inside of you. And that is your beginning. And the internet is full. There's a ton of beneficial content that will help you to start your journey. But later on, definitely you will need someone to help you to dig deep for those unconscious limiting beliefs and do the deep work that you will really need. But again, this is a process. It takes time. It takes courage, but believe me, I promise you, the results are so rewarding, so rewarding.
Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful. I could not have put it and ended better than yourself. And to be honest, you've given us so much, like you said, relief, and more importantly, hope for people that are struggling and who are feeling the sort of need to balance life. And I just want to say again, from all of us here on British Muslim TV, thank you so much, Loubna, for being with us tonight. If you do want to reach out to her, please do search her up on Instagram, and her name is there, where you can just get hold of her and definitely seek her assistance. Also, thank you all of us here on British Muslim TV for another lovely episode. And inshallah, we'll see you same time next week. Take care. Salam.